So today I would like to talk about how trauma can affect your sexuality because it definitely can. This is an interesting topic, but trauma can definitely affect someone's sexuality and how they perceive sex and how they react to sexual encounters. If you face a lot of trauma from both genders in your life, you may actually feel asexual. That's kind of how I feel because I've faced trauma from both genders. So I feel asexual, but I don't want to have like no relationship. I want love, but I don't want the sex part. So I am what they call biromantic asexual, which means that I want the romance but not the sex because of my past traumas. For some people, if they face trauma from men, they will want to date only women, and if they face trauma from women, they will want to date only men. That can happen as well. It can turn you off of one gender or the other. It can do that to people as well if they face some traumas. It can make them feel. It can influence your sexuality. Your past traumas can if you are a bisexual person. If you are not a bisexual person, it usually does not affect you as much. But this mostly affects people that are born bisexual, like myself. If you are born pansexual, it can also possibly affect, but not as much as if you are born bisexual. Your sexuality can possibly change based on trauma. Not always, but in some cases it can, because you sometimes you will associate a person's gender with your trauma. So for a while you may feel, like if you have trauma with males, you may feel like you may want to date females more. If you have trauma with females, you may want to date males more. If you have trauma with both genders, you may just want the romantic side and not the sexual. Or you may just not want to date people at all. It just depends on how you feel. But people can also be born asexual. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but past traumas can affect your sexual orientation if you are born bisexual. I don't know if I will ever go back to being a regular bisexual like I was born. I don't believe I was born with the aversion to sex because I do feel horny at times. So I don't believe I have zero sex drive. I believe that I was not born with an aversion to sex, but I believe that my past traumas has made me less likely to engage in sexual activity. So I'm not sure if therapy can fix that for me. I may be just always adversive to sex. I don't know, but everyone develops differently and everyone thinks differently. But if you go through trauma, it can affect your ability to have sex in the future because it can affect how you feel about sex. If you feel pain when you are touched, for example, I feel pain when I am touched in some ways in my private area and in my chest. If someone touches me in those areas, I often feel pain, and I don't know how to stop feeling pain in those areas when I am touched. I don't know how to stop that. It's kind of like a psychological thing where I don't feel good, I feel pain. I don't understand it, but it just is what it is. It may also have to do with my autism, where it may be that I just don't like being touched that way. I don't really know. Autism can also affect your sexual drive and your desires as well. So those are things that can affect your sexuality. Your sexuality can change because of trauma. if you are bisexual, is what I'm trying to get across, is that if you are bisexual, if you go through trauma, it can affect your sexuality, it can affect how you perceive the world, it can affect what genders you want to date, and things of that nature. Um, I don't have any trauma with non-binary people, but I do understand that even non-binary people still have genitals, so it's not like they don't have genitals. So there's still that. Yeah, so I do as a bisexual person recognize genitals and make some observations on that. I'm not a pansexual person where genitals don't matter to me. So there's that. So I know non-binary people, regardless that they identify as neither, they still have genitals, so they still probably want to have sex in some fashion. So even if you're dating a non-binary person, they still have some type of genitals in some ways. And I think it would be a little bit confusing for me to date a non-binary person because they may not disclose what kind of genitals they have. And I may be wondering, like, what am I going to deal with? Am I going to deal with a penis or am I going to deal with a vagina? Because I may not know right away what I'm going to deal with until the time comes. And that may be kind of scary. So that's kind of the scary part about dating a non-binary person, is that they may not disclose what kind of genitals they have. And if you're the kind of person that's kind of curious and wants to know those types of things, they may find you rude or things like that. And same thing with dating somebody that's transgender. They may not disclose what kind of genitals they have either. They may not disclose how far along they are, and you might be curious about that, but they probably aren't going to disclose that to you until the time that you engage in the sexual activity, so it may be kind of a surprise. So if you are a bisexual, that may not be cool with you. I do think personality is more important than genitals, definitely, but genitals do play a factor in my attraction to people. So I do kind of want to know what's there. Going into a relationship, I kind of want to know what the person has so I know what I'm working with and things like that. I kind of want to know just like if someone has male or female genitalia, just so I know what they have. But I know it's kind of rude to ask a non-binary person or a trans person if they have male or female genitalia, unless they want to disclose that. So that's the thing. I haven't dated somebody that's non-binary or trans because they don't often disclose those types of details. It's not that I wouldn't be open to it, it's just they don't usually disclose those types of details about themselves. And when I tell them I'm female, I'm basically telling them that yes, I have a vagina, but they're not telling me what they have. So it's kind of a little bit of a confusion there, because I'm being very honest about what I have, but they're not always telling me what they have. So there's that. When you're dating someone, you kind of want to know what genitals they have so that you can prepare for any kind of romantic encounter. You kind of want to know what's there so that you can prepare. Well, this person has a vagina, so I will prepare with maybe licking, or I will prepare with, things of that nature. They will probably want fingering or licking or things like that. Or this person has a penis, so they might want to penetrate me or something like that. Or they might want me to suck on it or something. But you have to know what the person has, otherwise you're going in blind, and you have to discuss things like that. Like, what would you want to do? You have to discuss those types of things with this person. Like, what are they into? And things like that. Otherwise, you're just going into it blind, and you may be like, stop, I don't want this, So, honestly, I'm okay with doing things to other people more than I'm with other people doing things to me. I'm not sure if that's if that it makes sense, but I might be more okay with doing things to other people because of my traumas to make them feel good. I don't know. But I just wanted to talk about this, how sexuality can change and how, but it doesn't always change. It only changes if you go through some type of trauma. So it's kind of how your sexuality can be fluid, but it can change a little bit if you go through some type of trauma. I mean, you can still be attracted to both genders. That's not going to change because I was born bisexual. That's not going to change, but the whole wanting the sex part did change for me. So, yes. So that's never going to change, even if you have trauma with males and you decide that you don't want to have a relationship with a male. You may still be attracted to men, but even if you decide not to have a relationship with a male, or you may decide that you don't want to have a relationship with females, you may still be attracted to females. That's probably not going to change for you, but you can decide not to have a relationship with females. You can decide to do that because of trauma, but that's not going to change. It's not going to change your sexual orientation. So your sexual orientation depending on who you date and things like that, does depend on how you feel, on how you evolve in your life. So I'm trying to get across is that sexual orientation does depend a little bit on your past traumas and how you reacted to the world around you. And I hope this helps. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, but hopefully this helps anyone that's trying to figure things out. And I will see you guys next time. Bye now.